Yo, boys, what's going on? It's your boy Zink. I'm back with another EA Sports UFC 5 video. And holy smokes, guys. You guys have just been showing so much love to the channel. I keep talking about it, but we've gone from 62 subs last week to 125 now. I can't thank you guys enough for, stopping by, liking my videos, commenting, asking questions. It's so great. And I just wanted to thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. It means a ton, and I'm gonna keep blasting out content for you guys. And yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and I'm having a blast. So in today's video, I'm gonna be going over some tips and tricks that have helped me succeed in UFC 5's online career mode. As you can see, I'm Div 20 right now, which is the highest division, with 16 current title defenses. Now, I'll just get off the bat right away that I am at my max potential points right now, 1,000 out of 1,000. So obviously, I have a stat advantage if I'm going against a fighter who doesn't have as many stars. But I'm not going to take too much away from me because it still takes some skill to get to this division. But I'm going to share with you guys some tips and tricks and different strategies that have helped me reach Div 20 and helped me be a consistent player. So without further ado, let's get into the video, boys. All right, boys. So first tip we're going to get into, it's nothing special, but we're going to look at our created fighter, and we're going to talk about his style / stance. So this does not give you any kind of stat advantage whatsoever, but I recommend you do take an in-depth look at some of these stances and decide which one you think is best to fit your style. I'm using Alex Caceres because he's very light on his feet. As you can see here, he's got an interesting, very open stance. I just feel like it allows me to move quicker. But like I said, it doesn't give you a stat advantage. That's just how it feels for me. And I really have had a lot of striking success with this stance. Obviously, your stance doesn't really matter when you're on the ground because it just doesn't. That's a whole different part of MMA. But I'd recommend you guys just take a look at all of the different stances and see which one you like. But I can highly recommend Alex Caceres. It is a very good stance, and I've had a ton of success, as I said. All right, let's get into tip number 2. All right, boys, tip number 2 will be fighter evolution. Now, obviously, you guys know how these points work by now. At least you should. If not, it's basically just using your evolution points that you get from fighting to upgrade your different stats. There's 3 categories: stand-up, grappling, health. I definitely favored stand-up because that's where I'm the strongest. And the one tip I would recommend, especially if you're just starting out still and you haven't upgraded your guy a ton, I mean, obviously you want him to be balanced, right? You want him to be able to do everything. But I would strongly suggest you focus on power, punch power. The last thing you want is to, get that perfect pull counter, hit a guy with an uppercut or a left hook, and it takes his half of his health bar away, doesn't even drop him or stun him. You want to have that power. You want to be able to land stuns / wobbles, even knockdowns, because those add up really quick in this game. I've noticed, if you hurt a guy once or twice in a round, there's a good chance you can get him out of there. So I'd really focus on prioritizing your punch power. Kicks are important too. It depends what type of kicks you want. I don't throw too many kicks because it leaves me vulnerable against these higher level players. But I just wanted to tell you guys what I've done. I've upgraded my punch power, and I've had a ton of success. All right, let's get on to tip number 3. All right, boys. So tip number 3 is something that I really think is a huge part, and it's obviously in the actual fight when you're fighting, is distance management and strike, your strike choice, and deciding what you're going to throw when you're going to throw it. So my whole style is that I really like being patient. There's times where if you guys have seen my previous videos, where I may get pressured and have my back up on the fence, but I don't really struggle there. I know how to fight like that. Now, I'm not recommending you back up and let your opponent pressure you, but it's just being patient and not going balls to the wall as soon as the fight starts, because when you start getting into these higher divisions, players know how to fight, okay? But distance management is an absolutely huge part of this game. It was part of UFC 4 as well. Any game, any UFC game, distance management is so important. So, for example, if I'm at about this distance with Pereira, and obviously your opponent's going to be striking and moving, see how I'm missing that jab? But I'm hitting this cross. Obviously, I moved closer. You want to just be able to really know what you can throw based off your opponent's body language. Now, it's not easy to demonstrate with an opponent who's just sitting still, but just really, really think about distance management and not throwing too much crazy stuff, guys. You know, I've seen people throw crazy spin kicks, and sure, they may work sometimes, but what I've found to work best for me personally is keep it simple. Teep kicks, leg kicks, straights, hooks, body jabs, body hooks. Just keep the simple strikes, you guys. You don't need to complicate it. And like I've said, I think this is the number one thing that you should master is your distance management and your strike choice, because that will win you fights, and I guarantee it. There's been so many times where I'm just at the right distance. My opponent takes a risky strike like a head kick or even a body kick. They spin around because they miss it, and I counter them with a quick straight like that. So all it is your reaction time and your distance management will win you fights. Take my word for it. Obviously, you can see I've had some success. Really, really think about your distance management and just keep the strike simple. Like I said, those teep kicks, even head kicks, just simple strikes. Try not to throw stuff that's too easily countered. Don't be spamming leg kicks, because if you're someone who's a good boxer, they'll counter you with a straight. They'll counter you with a body. So just be very, very careful about what you're throwing. Fight smart, be focused, and manage your distance. See you in tip number 4. All right, guys, tip number 4 is to do some practice in the online ranked championships. Now, as you can see, I'm only Div 14. I haven't played nearly as much of this as I've played of career mode. And I had a tough start, as you can see. I know I have a decently positive record now, but when I first started this game, man, I was struggling. The timing's different, everything. And now you will be fighting with much faster fighters. This is going to feel a lot different than career mode, just because obviously the UFC fighters' stats are way higher. But I would recommend, getting 25, 30, even 40 ranked fights under your belt before you really go for that Div 20 push. And I think this will really shape up your skills. You'll learn some moves. You'll just experiment. Sure, you'll lose a couple fights. Stuff happens. But I would strongly recommend going sharpening your skills in online ranked, and that will transfer over to your skill and your performance in the online career mode. See you guys for tip 5. All right, guys. Tip number 5 for online career mode: save your points. As you can see, when you start getting higher up in the points, things start to cost more and more. Don't just use your points on the little things just because you have enough, and that's what. There was many times where I saved my points to upgrade something I really wanted. And also keep in mind, if you guys weren't sure, there's moves you can upgrade. There's perks you can buy. Now, I didn't upgrade a single move. I kept all of my basic moves and mastered them. 5-star hook, 5-star straight, 5-star jab. Let's take a look at some of my kicks. 4-star body kick is good. I got a 3-star calf kick. That's it. You see, that just means I'm not throwing them as much because those are pretty easy to counter if you throw too many of them. They're too predictable. Now, I didn't do any spinning strikes because I just don't think it's worth it if you're really trying to just lock in and have a clean fight. If you're trying to do some cheesy stuff, hey, you do you. Focus on your spinning strikes and all that stuff. I didn't upgrade a single takedown or ground or submission. I just think that keeping it simple, especially if you're just trying to learn the game, if you're trying to pick it up, sure, if you're advanced, go right ahead, do the moves you want. I kept all of my basic moves, and you can see I'm on a 16 fight title defense, and I'm in Div 20. So hopefully you can take my word. I only have 2 perks as well, so just really take an in-depth look at the all of the move upgrades, all of your move evolution. See what fits your style the best. See you guys for tip number 6. All right, guys, so the 6th and final tip that I have for you today is to keep your guy at maxed for a while once you've hit the 1,000 Evo points. That is when I've had the most success. I think I climbed from Div 14 to 20 with my guy with 1,000 out of 1,000 evolution points. As you can see, I have the option to prestige my fighter. I'm not going to just yet. I want to get a couple more fights in, get a feel for it. And what I'm also doing is I'm winning a bunch of fights. You can see I still have 100 Evo points in the top right corner there. So what that means is I'm fighting and I'm earning more points to use to my guy when he's a lower level. So the more wins I get And the more fights I get under my belt and practice with my maxed out fighter, I'll have more points left over after I prestige him, so I won't be such a low level. Because if you guys didn't know, when you prestige fighters, you stay in the same division. So you're basically losing all your stats, but you have to stay in the same division. Now, I mentioned in my last video, when you prestige your fighter, this number goes from 1,000 to 1,100. So that's an extra 100 points you can put into your guy at the very end to max him out. But just keep in mind that I'm not going to prestige him right away. You do you. I would recommend you get some fights under your belt with your maxed out fighter and save some of those points, especially if you pre-ordered the game. You can see I have 5 XP tokens. I am going to save those for after when I prestige, and then I'll be able to upgrade my guy with the points I have saved, as well as applying these tokens. I'm going to be getting a ton of XP, and hopefully it won't be too far behind from all of the other players. All right, boys, that does it for my tips and tricks for UFC 5's online career mode. I hope you guys can apply some of these to your gameplay. I hope it helps, and have a great rest of your day / night, wherever you're watching from. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, please, if you're new. I'm going to put my Twitch link and my TikTok link in the bio. If you guys could go and follow those, I would go and follow those. Sorry. I would appreciate that so much. And have a good night, boys. Peace.